Jay, welcome to the show, brother.
Dude, I'm here. We finally did it.
We did it.
We finally made it happen.
We made it happen. You've been all around. I've been all around. I feel like I go through spurts of like I see you every day for like weeks, and then I don't see you for like
Dude, I don't remember last
a
time
month.
I saw you. Was it when we emptied your garbage
It was when, yeah,
sack?
it was
That was supposed to be recycling.
For context, anybody listening or watching, my roommates, shout out to them. They, I was gone for a while, and I came back, and we got this big like bagster.
It's
So
green.
It's green.
It's recycling.
It's just recycling. And then we go to take it to the recycling stuff. And one of the ice barrel, it was the ice barrel box, was just filled with a bunch of other random trash.
As in like coolers
Which-
and bicycle handlebars.
And I was like, Jack was there with us. I was like, dude, like, did you not remember?
And for
all
context,
this?
this bag is the size of a back of a pickup truck.
It's huge.
And it was filled with trash. And we went to put it in the recycling. And then we couldn't.
Because
Anyways.
I didn't know. I thought it was only recyclables in there.
Well,
I didn't know there were coolers
yeah.
and suitcases.
So then we were trying to like illegally dump it at like different dumpsters, and dumpsters were locked, and then that was our sign to
Dude,
not illegally dump. And
people they lock up those dumpsters. They
Dude,
lock up those dumpsters.
You ain't
They-
using my dumpster.
They do not
You
want
ain't
you.
using my dumpster.
Well, to move on from our trash talk, it's always good to see you. Always good to hang with you. You become one of my good friends down here in Austin, and we were kind of like knew of each other before I
Yeah.
moved down here, and I didn't really know. You were kind of like this mystique character that I saw on social media, because you're unlike someone like me who like I'm just like talking in all my videos on Instagram. Yours was very like, it's a lot of B-roll shots of you, or
Yeah.
and you've done a lot more, I think, over the past couple of months of really like just kind of leaning into
Content creation.
and
Yeah.
just like who you are more. And it's been a lot more like documentation, I would say, versus creation. And I feel like I've gotten to see that side of you that like I knew like when we hung out, but didn't really like see that on social. And I feel like, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but like that's kind of the vibe that I've gotten, is like you've just really leaned more into who you are versus trying to create this like persona of somebody that like you're trying to be on social.
Yeah, that's definitely I mean, that's still a problem. I wouldn't call it a problem. That's still something today where like even who I am on social right now isn't truly 100%. Like if you know me, it's not really 100% who I am. Like I put one side of me on social media, and which is the hard, kind of like what Goggins says. He says, there's David and then there's Goggins.
Mm.
And there are two different people. And for me, it's like, on Instagram, there is like who I am when I'm racing and when I'm training. But I really want to lean more into like who I am when I'm not doing those things. And, there's still a line there that I have drawn that I need to kind of flirt with overlapping into the same. So we'll see. We're learning.
Why haven't you fully allowed yourself to be who you truly are on social media?
I mean, don't get me wrong. Who I am on social media is really who I am in real life. Like, which that. Everything I do on social media is real and what I do. But I just feel like I built this presence of this hard personality of like I do hard things, and sometimes I don't really want to put other things on there. As in like how much access do I want to give people to who I am? And like there is a soft side to me, there is a lovable side to me, there is a faithful side of me. But do I want to give everything that I am to everyone?
Mm.
And that's where I'm kind of at, is like, there has to be, I think in my opinion, like there has to be a little bit of separation. And kind of like, like my friends know who I am. They know me in and out. They know me. They know everything about me. They know who I truly am as a person. Like, do 60,000 people deserve to have access to that? I don't know. What I'm doing on social media is I'm trying to motivate, inspire, and get people to want to go out and do the hard thing, run the marathons, run the halves and the 5Ks, and get those messages of, you motivated me to do my first trail race. And you know so what I'm doing and who I am right now is working and doing what I want to do. It's just how much access do I want to give people to my life.
Mm. Do you have a process to filter out what you decide to put on?
Not really. I mean, for me now, it's really leading more into like what you just spoke about, where you're like, it's always like I'm talking about yourself. You're like,
Mhm.
I'm always talking on Instagram, and the more that you start to work with brands, the more that you need to speak about a product. You can't just you can't explain a brand by throwing up B-roll and giving people a motivational quote or making funny memes or something like that. So a lot of the people that you see out there that are representing these brands are communicating and are speaking and doing exactly what you're doing. So leaning more into that was actually something I was thinking about this morning on the treadmill. Was I was thinking about doing a video for Blokes. Just recently partnered with them, and it's like, how do you explain getting a at home blood draw panel on Instagram?
Mm.
So it's like, okay, how do I explain that? Because what you said, you're like I already have what I post now.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I can't do what I do now, and I can't take a picture of me running through the mountains of Colorado and say, "Go get your blood drawn." you know. So, but that was something that I'm still leaning into today. Like, I don't think a lot of people really truly understand, the beginning of. I started posting religiously in the spring of 2022. We're just coming up on 2 years. Like, I had BPN Marathon number one was January of 22. And when I came down, I went fourth overall. And I was like, holy shit, like I kind of like I got something here. I was like, and then I started, and I didn't even know, like, so you know how like when
Was that your
people,
first marathon?
yeah, that was like my first race. Um, but you know how like people like tag you in things?
Mhm.
Like they'll make their own post and they'll tag you in it.
Yeah.
Bro, trying to navigate the world of Instagram in 2022, I was like someone would tag me in something. I'm like, I'm not even in this picture, bro. Like what is going on here?
Yeah.
And like trying to learn the ins and outs of social media and how it works and what people do. I just started.
Mm.
And it was never content creation for me. It was just telling my story for almost 2 years. And then once I had the triple leg fractures and I couldn't do anything for 60 days, that's when like I met with Matt Choi and we sat at Sun Life. And he's like, now is the chance to start telling stories. And he's like, you have this story of you do hard things, you have this story of like you're a funny guy, you have this story of educating people because you're a coach, you have this, he's like, now is your chance to tell different stories and become a creator while you document the process.
Mm.
And that took me, like I've spoke about before, like my engagement was pretty low, 300,000, and that took me up over 1.5 million for my engagement in 60 days. Took me from 40,000 followers to 56,000 followers in 60 days. Just telling many stories. So what I'm saying here is like I'm brand new to it now
Mhm.
because truly, like, to me, I feel like I just started September 30.
Right.
Like that was my first like aha moment. Everything that I built before that was just because of what I've done
Mm.
and doing the hard things and doing the races and like doing the crazy stuff. But then like, once that injury hit and I had time to really sit in that and process that, I was like, okay, like, I need to figure this out. And so I'm brand new. Like, cause I really think that like I was reborn in the social media world September 30. And so I'm trying to figure it out now. And I've always told the story of the polar bear on a unicycle. Have you heard that one yet?
I don't think I have.
This is great. So This came from a friend in New York. His name's Tejas, very young kid.
I know
You know
Tejas.
Tejas?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
right, all right. So I sat with Tejas and he told me this. He's like, in order to ever be great on social media, you need to be the polar bear on a unicycle. I looked at him and I'm like, the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, a polar bear is very rare, but a polar bear on a unicycle is unheard of. So you need to find your polar bear and you need to find your unicycle and you need to mesh them together. Matt Choi, polar bear on a unicycle. Matt Choi's polar bear is that he is an elite runner. His unicycle is that guy just filmed himself going sub 3 while he went sub 3. Or, he's able to
Multiple bathroom breaks too.
yeah, 100%. So the polar bear is you're an elite runner. The unicycle is you have this ability, this uncanny ability to film yourself and tell a story during the entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for you, your polar bear is that you are an athlete. You are an elite athlete. Back before everything that happened, you were doing elite things, and chasing the marathons and doing that. But then your unicycle is that like you have this uncanny ability to speak to a camera, and you're just able to tell a story. You're able to be a businessman. You're able to sell a product. You're able to build a business. You are an athlete who is a businessman. So in that time frame, like I had to figure out like what is my polar bear on a unicycle, and sitting with Tejas and talking about that, I think personally, and this is my opinion, is that like I'm able to go out and win these races, but I'm also able to put on the businessman hat and be a businessman and help companies push products because that's what I believe in and that's what I use. So, you put a camera in front of Adrian McDonald. Adrian, if for some reason you ever listen to this, I don't mean this badly, but Adrian McDonald won Leadville, and they go to interview him afterwards, and they're like, oh man, like, what did you think about when you were out there? Brother, you could have said 1,000 things and promoted any single product in the entire world, and he goes, I don't know. Just thought about running. You have these elite, like, and you look at these elite triathletes as well, that get up on the stage and they just won an Ironman, and they're like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna go take a nap. Like, there's just not a, there's not a, there's not a polar bear on a unicycle there. And I think if you really focus, if you focus on that polar bear on a unicycle where like I'm this elite athlete, but I'm also trying to now become a storyteller. I found that polar bear on a unicycle, and look what it did. Skyrockets. So my advice to content creators out there is find your polar bear, and that's the base of who you are. And then find your unicycle, which is the base of what you do. And if you can combine those two together, you will blow up.
It's interesting. I think about like the athletes, and I think about like the content creators. Because you mentioned Matt a couple times, and like Matt is a great athlete. Like he was a stud football player too.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of people know. I connected with Matt like in 2020. He had like 2,000 followers. He was working at Orange Theory and he was coaching high school football. And I was playing college football at the time. And a buddy of mine was like, yo, like check out this dude. Like he looks dope. I was like, cool. He reached out to him. He was episode like 9 of the podcast. But I always knew like from that point, I was like, he's gonna blow up. Like he's going to do something.
He's so good at
dope.
it.
He's so good
at content creation.
He really is. But it's just like not a day has gone by where he hasn't, posted something, where he's not working on his craft. Like he treats, and that's one thing that I've learned from him and from a lot of the other creators who like I aspire to be like, and it's just like they treat it like they're a professional athlete, like they eat, sleep, and breathe it. And you're not just going to rise to that level without intention and without really doing the inner work and the deep work and seeing what brings out my polar bear. Like,
and it's so
what is my
time
unicycle?
consuming.
It's so time consuming.
And I've realized that like over the holidays and traveling so much that I let it take a back. I mean, I made it take a back seat.
Oh, I've been there too.
And
100%.
And then, which I kind of love like, I don't chase the followers, but I really have started to chase the engagement.
Mm,
And, because engagement is truly like followers don't matter, really. Just make it like, in my opinion,
mhm,
it's engagement. How many people are you allowing to consume your content, or are you promoting or are you making good enough content that many people are consuming it? And completely put it on the back burner. Traveled for about 2 weeks, in the Northeast and to Iowa and all of that, and I put it on the back burner, and engagement's down like 300,000. Which it doesn't really matter because you also have to put real life first. But just going back to your thing of like these elite people, I don't think that I don't think that a lot of people that follow us really truly understand the hours per day that go into what we do.
mhm.
Like people just looking like, oh yeah, like he's an influencer. He's a, he yeah, what is he? He does Instagram, this and that. Bro, that is a full-time job. Like that is literally it's taken me 8 hours to come up with a real idea
Mm,
before. 8 hours.
yeah.
And to come up with an idea, and then you get on there and get on the computer and you start throwing together an idea, and I'm sure you've experienced this. Bang, 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 and all of a sudden, bam, everything goes blank, and you're like, I hate it. Like I hate it. And you have to start over. And or you have the idea and you're like da 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 da, and then it just goes blank. And you're like, ah, and then you have to start over. People don't understand or respect the amount that goes into like being an elite content creator or storyteller. It's hard.
It's a it's literally like anything else. It's a job. And while it may not be sitting at a desk crunching numbers on an Excel sheet for 8 hours a day, it's waking up and going for a 10-mile run, trying to find some sort of hit of inspiration or
Yeah, yeah. Like
motivation.
this morning, I was on the treadmill for almost an hour and a half, literally staring at a blank TV, and like just trying to find some type of something. Like today, like my day's full. I'm gonna have no time to do any type of like content work. I was running. I came straight here. I think we're gonna lift afterwards, and then I have to go to my mom's, and that's a 5 hour drive, and I have to spend time with her. And like there's a lot, and like I'm trying to think. I'm like, what videos do I have? Is there something quick that I could throw up? Should I just throw a dart at the wall? Should I just let today roll? Should I post a picture? It's a thing, and I think that like truly like great creators, why they get into everything I just said, because the first world problems, right? Like there's so many other
Yeah.
problems in the world.
Mm.
But, when we're thinking about these things, if you're a good creator, you truly care about like putting something out there for the people that follow you. Because every time that I put something out there, like I want to give a message to help somebody or motivate somebody, or like even if I'm having a shit day, terrible day, and I'm like, man, like this day sucks. I hate it. But I still sit down. I still throw something together. I still put it out there, and I will still get a message from somebody that's like, "Oh man, like this really resonates with me." Like, like yesterday, dude, I got a message yesterday that was this long, and a guy telling me that he's like, "I thought I was alone in this feeling." He listened to the last podcast I was on, where I was talking about Leadville, where I did this very, 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 very hard thing, and then literally went out in the front yard of the Airbnb after like probably about 4 hours after I finished, and just kind of sat there in tears because I was like, I didn't feel like I got what I wanted. Like my instant thought after I woke up from my nap was like, now what? And I thought I was gonna do Leadville, and I thought I was gonna feel like the most accomplished person in the world, and I thought it was gonna just alleviate all of this stress and like, I don't know. I just thought there was gonna be something, and there was nothing. And this guy sent me this message, and he's like, I just want to tell you, like, I listened to this podcast that you were on, and where you spoke about that. And he's like, I did this super hard race in Utah, 100 miler. He's like, and as soon as I got done, he's like, what's next? And he's like, and I sat in that for like 2 weeks. He's like, I couldn't even be happy for myself. And he's like, and I've never been able to put it into words, but he's like, you did. He's like, you put it into words for me about exactly what I was feeling. And he's like, I can't thank you enough because it finally helped me now feel like I can get over that hump.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh. I'm like, that whole day that I was on that podcast sucked. Like, I don't even remember why, but I just remember like I had to stop and get gas, and then the gas pump was out, and then wanted this certain protein bar, and I went inside, and the protein bar wasn't there, and like I spilled Power Lift all over myself, and like the whole day sucked, right? But now here we are, literally a month later, and I get a message from this guy who's like, "You helped me process something that I've been trying to process for 4 months." And I'm like, bro, nothing in that day matters. Like that right there, what I just did, and an entire month later, him saying that to me, that's why I do what I do.
Mm. What did you feel if you were searching? If you thought you were going to feel, I guess, what did you expect to feel after you finished Leadville? Like all those hours, all those miles, pushing the sled
You
in
were
the
there for all of it.
in the freaking 105-degree heat, and
In
I'm
a
like, bro, are
in
you
a hoodie.
in a hoodie? I'm like, bro, are you okay? I was a
I was
little
like,
worried
no,
for you.
I'm not okay.
Like, just your whole life was committed to this goal from the time that I moved down here until the time you ran Leadville. Like that was what you were doing. We shared some miles together, but like for the most, you were dialed in on that.
Yeah.
You're a man on a mission. You achieved that mission. What did you expect to feel? What did you actually feel?
Well, like that was like Leadville was my redemption tour. Like I did Leadville. Call it Leadville 1. I did Leadville in 2022. So Leadville 1, I took it on 30 days notice. I didn't finish. I got cut off by time, which was brutal because like I wasn't even allowed the opportunity to quit. I just didn't. I missed my final checkpoint by like I don't even remember minutes, like single digit minutes. And they're like, you're done. And I'm like, I don't even have the choice. Like you're not even like I can't even quit. And they're like, no, you're done. So Leadville 2, this in 2023 was like a redemption tour. Like I was just on fire for this. And I'm gonna murder it. I'm gonna kill it. Like this is mine. And like you said, like I was running 100-mile weeks for months. And in that process of running 100-mile weeks, I was here lifting every afternoon. I was here pulling and pushing the sled every afternoon. I was putting a hoodie on in the 110-degree Austin heat to make myself uncomfortable and not want to be there. Like I was doing everything I could to make sure like that this race was going to be finished.
Mm.
And then I got to the finish line and, tears seeing the finish line for the first time. And I crossed the finish line. The feelings were great. My mom was there. All my friends were there. And got in the truck, went back to the Airbnb, went to sleep, woke up, and I had to take Ash outside, my dog, and I took him outside to the back, hobbled my way down there, sat in the grass. And I sat there and I'm like, I feel nothing. Like I didn't feel happiness. I didn't feel completion. I didn't feel relieved. And I was shocked because I think at that time I was able to just start processing it. I mean, I finished, it was 28 hours. Like I finished at 8 a.m. And by this point it's probably 3 in the afternoon. And, and I had a nap and I had food in me and water and kind of coming back to. And I didn't feel anything. Like I thought I was going to finish Leadville, and this is dramatic, but I thought I was going to finish Leadville and I was going to be like, well, I can retire now. Like completion is what I thought I was going to feel. I thought I was going to feel relieved. I thought I was going to feel completed. Like I thought like it was done, right? Like I'd been chasing the finish line for a year. Like as soon as Leadville won, as soon as I got pulled from that course, I was sending an email that same day saying I'm coming back. Like I knew right away that I was going back. And I don't know. I don't know, but that really taught me, that I'm not chasing the finish line. And at that point in time, I thought that I was chasing the finish line, but I'm not. I'm chasing the process. I'm chasing the training. I'm chasing the blood, the sweat, the tears, the the structure of the training block. I'm not chasing the finish line. I'm chasing everything that I learn from the time that I sign up for that race to the time that I finish. If I win it, awesome. If I complete it, awesome. If I DNF, awesome. I truly do not care about that finish line. And I mean that with everything in my being. I've learned after Leadville that I care about everything in between. Because just like what you said, like I look back at me throwing that hoodie on, 110-degree heat after I had ran 25 miles that day and making myself just sick, in the Austin, Texas sun, pushing and pulling that sled, like pushing my body to the very brink every single day. And then getting to the brink and immediately pulling back and going and hitting the ice bath and going and pushing a gallon of water and going and eating 5, 6, 7,000 calories and then resting and relaxing and reading and meditating and doing it all again the next day. That's what I chase.
We were sitting in the sauna at Eric's a couple weeks ago, and I asked you, why do you do what you do? And you just gave a pretty good explanation of it, and I have a better understanding now of why you do what you do. But I also asked you, like, well, what are you chasing? Like, what is the legacy that you're trying to leave? Like, what is this all for? Because it's something I think about for myself a
Yeah.
lot too, and it's a reminder.
Yeah.
I think we have to remind ourselves of that. But you told me, when you hear the names David Goggins, when you hear the names Cameron Haynes, when you hear, some of these other
I'm glad that's what I
incredible
said
names.
because that's exactly what popped into my head. So that confirms to me that that is true.
Yeah.
Because
So,
I couldn't remember what I told you. So I was already having that going. Okay.
so that's what you told me. And my question is, why do you want to be in that category of
There's an
people?
easy answer. Because when I first read the very first book that I read ever outside of high school, late 2020, Cant Hurt Me by David Goggins.
So funny. Same. One of the
And
first books.
yeah. And the reason that I read that book, and I haven't told this story yet, and because I was on a podcast and my mom listens to every podcast religiously, just like I'm sure your mother.
Hey, Miss Johnson.
Yes.
How are you?
So yeah, she's gonna be listening here. So she texts me because someone asked me. I'm like, I don't remember why. And she texts me. She goes, I'll tell you exactly why. My little brother had 2 friends that were murdered in the beginning of 2020. One was 16, one was 17, and Marcus was, I think, 15 or 16 at the time. Went into this spiraling depression all of 2020 and gained a bunch of weight, stopped going to school his senior year, pretty much like dropped out. But he did drop out of high school actually because he moved in with me later and we got him his high school diploma through a program at Des Moines Community College. Dropped out of high school, sick, overeating, undereating, not leaving his bedroom, sleeping a couple hours a day on antidepressants, just completely fucked up. And I came across an ad for Cant Hurt Me, and the title, Cant Hurt Me, just instantly grabbed me. Like, I wonder what that is. And I had no idea who Goggins was at the time. And I had been in the military at this point for 6 years, which is crazy. I didn't know who he was. And dove into, went to Amazon and read about the book. And I'm like, this is crazy. Text Marcus right away. I'm like, hey, I hope you're okay. He's 15, 16. He's living at home with my mom. Hope all is well. I was like, I found this book. I'm like, I think I'm going to buy it. And I was like, let's read it together. I was like, can you do that for me? Like, can we do that together? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I sent him the book. Long story short, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. That book was changing my life. Not Marcus's. Did it help him? Yeah, probably. Life is good for him now. Everything is fine. But I was looking to do something for someone else, and I changed my own life in the process. And I'm talking like I should not be here today. I should not be who I am today. I read that book and I looked at everything that Goggins went through when he was young, single mom, broke, poor, shitty childhood, trauma. I have been through all of those same things. And the biggest thing for me was I was like, if this guy, and also relating to him in the military aspect, he was military, he was a recruiter. I was military, I was a recruiter. There was so many similarities. And I'm like, if this guy can do it, why can I not? Why am I not doing it? And it kind of upset me to the point of where I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I was, living in Iowa. I was in a unhappy marriage at the time. I was going to the brewery every other night and having 5 or 6 beers because I thought that that's what I needed to be happy. And I'm like, if this man is doing these things and has a book about it and changed his entire trajectory of his life, why can I not do that? Because if he can do it, going through all of that, I went through all of that, I can do that as well. And so I started showing up to work and I started running at Camp Dodge. I started running loops. I would run 8 miles, like 3 times a week. Run, 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 lift, 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 lift. Where I'm going with this is the reason why I don't care about the finish line and don't care about if I win or if I lose or if I didn't finish, blah, 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 blah. Goggins changed my life. Cam Hanes is a life changer. Jocko is a life changer. Joe Rogan is a life changer. These hard, tough dudes are life changers. They're changing people's lives. If I can put my name next to theirs, why can't I have a book? Why can't I change people's lives? Because I can see the trajectory of my entire life that changed in 2020 and put me where I am today. Imagine if you or I could do that for one single person and change the entire trajectory of not just them, but their entire family. Because I could have stayed in the military. I could have stayed in an unhappy marriage. I could have stayed in this, you know, very close to alcoholism lifestyle. And what would be the trajectory of my family when I have kids? What would be the trajectory of them when they have kids? If their dad, grandpa, great grandpa was staying in that lifestyle? Because I can tell you what, it's going to be damn different than what it is now. That's why I want my name with those guys. Not because they're winners. David Goggins hasn't won hundreds of races. He's not Kipchoge. He doesn't, he's not a world record holder. He's not, he's won, but do you know races he's won? Probably not. Jocko, just a tough dude. Cam Hanes, he's won a couple races. Do you know them off the top of your head? No, you don't. You just know that these guys have changed lives and they have a story to tell. I want to change lives and I have a freaking story to tell. That's why I want my name with theirs.
Yeah, that's an interesting point you made about them winning races or things. Like, you don't honestly, Jocko was a military man for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like, God only knows what that man's accomplished.
Yeah.
But I think what is so the attraction to those figures, and for me especially, is like, it's just the consistent work.
Yes.
It's the non-negotiation. It's the no negotiation with just showing up every day and knowing that that work is not for anybody else, but the person doing the work. But by simply sharing, the things that come up in your head while you're doing it, the thoughts, the ideas, the sheer accountability of somebody's looking at your Instagram page. They're going to see, I wonder how many miles Matt ran today.
Yeah.
I wonder what he was doing at the gym. And then that being the motivation, the inspiration for them to get up off the couch, put the shoes on, and go out and run.
Yeah.
And go to the gym and lift the weights. So it's an interesting point you made right there about that.
Yeah. It's not about the wins. And I used to think it was like, I used to think it was all about the finish line. It was all about the glory and the, praise me, I'm awesome, tell me how great I am. I don't give a shit
Mm.
about that. I don't anymore. And
Does it
truly, like,
does it sorry to interrupt you, but does it feel awkward? Like when is it hard for you to accept that like good job or like, job well done? Like is it hard for you to receive that?
yeah, I mean, i- it is. It's a little, I wouldn't say it's hard to receive that, but like if you're looking for that, if you're looking for a good job, if you're looking for a job well done, you're in the wrong place, man. Like your mind's not in the right spot. Because I don't do it for a good job. I do it for me. And that's something that, like a lot of these things I'm telling you really became recent in 2023 and
Mhm.
moving into 2024 because like I said, like 2022 was, you know, I won my first ultra marathon and man, like I wanted to put that on Instagram so fast because I was chasing that like look what I did. Tell me good job. And the because you're chasing the finish line.
Mm.
And then moving into the BPN marathon weekend this year, sorry, 2023. I won the marathon. I did the Ironman 6 days later. Like I was living on a high that week. Like that was one of the greatest weeks of my life. But I can tell you that never once was I looking for a good job. Or did I have the instant gratification of like, I need to post this on social media right now. And to me, I think it comes down to within the process, if you're saying that you're going to do something, just go do it. And that's my biggest thing is like, I don't chase the good jobs. I said I'm going to do it. So now watch me go do it. And then I think what I'm chasing is people being like, damn, like he actually said he was going to do that and he did it. And I'm like, yeah, I did. But you also have to be ready for when shit goes south and people are gonna say, "Yeah, I knew he couldn't do that." Yeah, guy talks a lot. You know, it's riding that fine line between if you're gonna put it out there and you're gonna say like I'm gonna do it, you better damn sure be ready to do it, and you better damn sure ready to be able to fail as well.
Do you have a favorite failure?
Man, if you would have asked me before September 30th, I would have told you it was Leadville 1, but I really think that it was that LA 100
Mm.
because I knew in my head, I knew what was coming. I knew that failure was a huge possibility. Why I have my phone out right now. No one that can see this.
You were winning
Yes, I
at that
led.
point.
I led 75 miles of it. Drew Darby sent me this picture that he found yesterday. This picture was taken at, you can literally see it on my phone, 3:56, so 4 p.m. The race was the next day. I knew what was
Wow.
coming. And I see that. For those of you that can't see it, it's a picture of me on a couch in LA. My running shoes are on, my head's in my hands. Because I went out and I ran, I tried to run the day before and I could not run. And I sat in an alley and cried because my leg was broken. And I prayed about it. I meditated on it. I did anything and everything that you can think of, whatever you believe in, whatever you don't believe in, I did it to try to figure out what the hell I was going to do. So I would say that the LA 100 is my favorite failure because I knew that failure was the most likely outcome, but I also knew that I had to take the chance because I knew that one of two things were either going to happen. I was either going to win that 100 or I was going to fail trying. And I knew that the most likely outcome was the latter. But how could I not even do it when the first outcome was still probable? Winning the 100 was still on the table if I could just hold on. I didn't know my leg was broke. And that's my own arrogancy. I thought I was just hurt. I thought I had just, I thought I had like really bad shin splints. I didn't know that there was 3 fractures in my leg. But how could I not even do it when I knew that winning was on the table? That's why that's my favorite failure, because I already knew that it was coming and I chose to do it anyways.
How did you break your leg in the first place? Was it just overuse?
Yeah, so during the Ironman in April, I fully fractured the fibula all the way through, clean through. And at that time, I have this toxic trait of I think that which I'm going to work on in 2024, that when I go, ouch, that hurts, I just think I'm hurt. And I just continue to push through the pain because I think I have this mentality, I have this capability in my brain of like, my mind is so much stronger than my body, and I need to be able to figure out how to balance that out. I broke the leg during Ironman. I didn't actually know that until I got the x-rays after the LA 100, where she's like, that was fractured a while ago. And I'm like, oh, I know exactly when that was. So I was on crutches for like 3 weeks, took 50 days off, got through Leadville. After Leadville, I went and I ran the Bronx 10 miler. During the Bronx 10 miler, I stepped in a pothole and I felt the same exact feeling that I felt during the Ironman, the same shockwave. And I'm like, oh shit. The Bronx 10 miler was 2 weeks before the 100. I knew something was wrong, but what I didn't know is when I got the x-ray 3 days after the 100, I had a grade 4A stress fracture. 4B is like surgical. I had a 4A stress fracture in the bottom of the tibia, a grade 2 stress fracture in the top of the tibia, and I had refractured the fibula again. But there was so much calcium built up because I didn't allow it to heal. There was so much calcium built up that it was a closed fracture. So it was fractured in the middle, but the calcium that had built up because I didn't let it heal right was holding it all together. So I led 75 miles of the 100 and just got to the point where honestly my right side is the side that locked up. My right side locked up. The left leg is the one that's broken, but I couldn't move my right leg because I think I had compensated so long. I mean, at that point we were 14, 15 hours in. My right side, like I couldn't even, like I was dragging my right leg. Like I couldn't even pull it up off the ground.
So did you run Leadville with this fracture too?
Yeah.
I was
And
gonna say, what kind of-
I was
there's a
I was
grade
fine.
there.
I was fine.
Really, nothing.
Yeah, there was nothing at Leadville. That's why I think that like, yeah, I didn't know about the fibula fracture. Like I thought it was just hurt, but I started running again like early July and I wasn't doing any type of intensity, so it wasn't like truly pounding. I had zero pain in that leg during Leadville. That's why I think that right after Leadville I started doing track workouts with Matt. And Matt and I were just slinging it at these track workouts. And I think that intensity refractured it. And then at the Bronx, when I stepped in that, because I was wearing the Vapor Flies, and if you're familiar with the Vapor Flies, they're very bouncy, but they don't have any ankle stabilizers. And I think that during all of that impact, and then when I stepped in that pothole, it just tweaked it just right. And yeah, so I had 3 MRIs and 2 X-rays, and they all came back. And she's like, "You have 3 fractures in your leg." She's like, "And you have one that you've had for a while." And I was like, "Yeah, like that was definitely the Iron Man." What do you do?
So, I mean, do you think it was just like the lower intensity that you were doing with Leadville that just wasn't
Yeah,
putting as much on it? Because I mean, you were doing 120-mile weeks.
yeah.
You were
122 is my peak week.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
remember you out there doing it, and it just goes to show how much like you don't have to do as much, like more intensity,
True,
more
100%,
more road miles.
100%.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you do not. And the crazy thing is
Yeah.
that right after Leadville, I went and got my VO2 max tested in New York by a
Mm.
sports scientist,
Jonah,
Jonah.
the man.
And that was one of the highest VO2 maxes that he has ever seen in an ultra runner, and I was in the 99 percentile,
What was your VO2 max?
69.
That's very good.
And the biggest thing is like I had done no speed work since probably January, and this was September. No speed work. And I had been injured once. I had been injured once at that point, and I was off for 60 days. And my VO2 max was through the roof. Sometimes just going out and just doing the work is good enough. You don't need to go balls to the wall all the time.
Mm.
I mean, my peak week, like that 122-mile week, bro, I ran for like 24 hours that week. Like slow. Like we're talking like 10, 11-minute pace for 122 miles. So slow. Sometimes you don't need to do the crazy intensity. Slow and steady sometimes wins the race.
So you're doing a mix of that from what I see now. You're doing a mix of the slow and steady zone 2 miles, but then you're also going and doing a crazy CrossFit workout and uh you're doing a lot of different things. How has your body been holding up with the volume that you've been doing, with the intensity that you've been doing? Do you think the cross training has helped?
Yeah, so I'm running now, like right now, anywhere between 50 and 100 miles a week. I've hit one 100-mile week in the last couple weeks. Um, but I'm doing very intense CrossFit workouts 4 to 5 days a week. And I'm alternating. See, that's the thing. That's what I think that is really going, like, that's what I think that I'm doing a lot better at is like during that 100-mile week, I did very, very, very hard CrossFit 3 times. And then the next week, I only did 30 miles, or I'm sorry, I only did 50 miles. I did a deload week. I did very, very, very high intensity CrossFit 5 times that week. The next week, I only did 40 miles. I did CrossFit 7 times that week. This week, I'm doing like 96 miles, and I'm doing around 3 to 4 heavy CrossFit workouts this week. So I think alternating that and not being so like, I need to do 100 miles because the 100-mile is the like, that's my baseline in my head where I'm like, that's where I need to be at. It's allowing myself more flexibility to not destroy my body because I'll tell you right now, leading up to Leadville, I was destroying myself
Mm.
because I was so sick with the redemption tour. And like when you see me this summer, you're not going to see that again. I mean, I'm going back to Leadville. You're not going to see that crazy shit. And if you do, hit me upside the head with a shovel and say, "The hell are you doing?" Because I truly don't believe it's needed. I think that there's a fine balance in the athlete space of running these 50 to 80 miles a week and then also having the energy and capability and mental cognitivity to be able to do like the CrossFit type stuff as well, and the lifting weights and the mobility and the stretching. Because when you're running 122 miles a week, you don't have time for all of that. You do not have time for mobility. You don't have time for stretching. Because I was running, 20 miles in the morning, 4 hours. I was actually hour 40 plus hour 40. Yeah, 320. I was 3.5 hours in the morning, coming home so freaking tired, working for like 2 to 3 hours, taking a nap, waking up from my nap, going and running 5 or 6 more, coming straight here to the gym, working out for an hour and a half, eating an astronomical amount of food between there, getting home and being so tired that I just fall into my bed and wake up and do it all over again. My relationship suffered. My friendships suffered. My athletes that I have suffered because of me. My work life suffered. Everything suffered. It's too much. It's too much. And now this year, I'm finding the balance of like, I don't need to, less is more. And I truly believe that. And along with like, having the capability of saying I don't need to run today. I don't need to work out today. Like when Amanda and I went out to Philly and, I had this like aha moment where I'm like, there's no way we're going here, we're traveling there, we're traveling here. It's like I don't need to run today, or if I do, like I can just run 3 or 4 miles this evening. You know, that's what I want this year to be is like me being able to put fitness on the back burner for a day.
Mm.
And, putting all of my relationships first, putting all of my athletes first, putting all of my business endeavors first. I am who I am. And if I can just maintain who I am as an athlete, I'm still very elite. I think that this year it's just about maintaining. I don't need to overdo it because overdoing it is what led to that.
If we were to do this again, January January 9th, 2025, what would you have wanted to accomplish in those 365 days?
The very first thing I would want to have accomplished is to be able to say that I have had no new injuries because of what I just said. I don't need to overtrain. And I need to find an off switch this year to where, are you doing too much? So, being able to sit down in a year and say that I made it the entire year injury free. The biggest thing that's on the plate right now, it's not 100% official, but we're working our way towards that, is the run across Texas in October. 850 to 900 miles in 16 days. Being able to say, if we do go through with that I successfully completed it. Doing Leadman. So that's going to be the Leadville Marathon in June, Leadville 50 in July, Leadville 100 bike in August, Leadville 100 in August. So being able to do all of those things and staying injury free, building, my community, building my relationships with brands, building my personal relationships, building my friendships, and just being an overall good person is what I would want to be able to tell you that I did very well if we sat down in a year.
It's crazy what a podcast can do. I feel like I've spent a lot of time with you over the past couple of months, but I feel like I got to know you on such a deeper level today. And one of the things that I've just been wondering is like, why does Matt do what he did? Why does he do what he does on a day-to-day basis? What is he searching for? And I feel like I really understand you and know you on a much deeper level, and I have so much respect for the work that you do and admiration for what you're also striving to become, because as Goggins' book, Never Finished, the second one
Yeah.
is like, we are never finished in our pursuit of growth. And
Right.
when we pursue better for ourselves, we're able to give back better to others.
Yeah.
Really
And that's
appreciate
what it's about. It's like, just like I already, just to reiterate, like my life was altered in the most positive way that it ever could have been in my head. And it's like I have that to give. I have to give that back to someone.
Mm.
And, I know for sure that like, someone comes up to me and it's like, hey, you altered my entire life, and then shows me all the proof. I'm still not finished. Because like, how many people can I do that for? And that's what I think that the driving push is. Like, do I overtrain? Do I overdo it? Yeah, I do. But that's just my addictive personality, and that's just who I am as a person. And that's okay. But putting it out there, showing it to people, allowing them to see it, lives will be changed. And I think, that's the goal of, that many of us have. So that's why when it comes down to social media, man, I don't give a shit what anybody says. I don't. I don't care. And no one should. Post it. Throw it out there. Do it. Document it. Create it. Do it for you. And if it drives you and you want to motivate others and you want to, whatever your goal is, just do it. Doesn't matter what anyone thinks. Doesn't matter what anyone says. Be you. Document it. Post it. Create it.
My last question for you, bro, and thank you for just coming on here, being vulnerable, opening up, and just being you, because the more you can be you, the more the world's going to benefit from it.
Mhm.
So, I would just continue to search for new ways to just continue to be you, because more people need to see that authentic side of you. My last question is one that I ask all my guests, and this is the Pure Ambition podcast. And so when you hear those two words, pure ambition, what comes to mind? What does it mean to you? How does it apply to your daily life?
Yeah. I mean, thinking like the first thing that, that comes to mind when you think of pure is like perfect, beautiful, organic, real, raw. Like those are just words that come. So, and then ambition to me is having the drive to do something. So if you want to bring that all together, it's having the raw and real drive to do/accomplish something.
Mm.
So breaking that down even more, raw drive, real drive, be you. You have a goal, be you, be raw, be real, be beautiful, be pure about it. Have good intentions on that goal that you're about to accomplish. Pure ambition.
I love it, brother. If people want to check out more of your content, if they want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that? What's the best way to support you?
It's gonna be on Instagram. We are launching a YouTube this summer with Leadman. With Leadman leading into the run across Texas. So we will have a YouTube channel soon. Right now it's on Instagram at Matt Johnson with 2 underscores. Maybe OnlyFans soon. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
See what
Maybe
happens.
some feet pics.
Thinking like some feet pics. Maybe like a like a shirtless cooking show.
Nice.
Me and Joey Musio maybe. So no, Instagram for now. YouTube's coming. I appreciate you having me on. It's been a vibe, and we got a little bit of time to go get a workout in.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, bro. Definitely have to do this again soon, but I'm just really stoked to see all that you're going to accomplish this year and just continue to elevate into to a higher level version of yourself.
I appreciate it. Let's do it.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's episode. I wanted to give you all a heads up too that I launched a free community on the Upspace app where you can join, ask me questions, connect with like-minded individuals, follow my 4-week running and strength training program that has some dedicated mobility sessions in there as well, so that we can all optimize our health and fitness together. So if you're interested, head over to the App Store, download the Upspace app, and join the Pure Ambition community today. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.